The purpose of this screencast is to guide you through some of the steps you need if you have chosen option A to explore the biology of well-being. So we're going to take you through step by step. You've got written instructions that also complement this video. So between the video and the written instructions, you should know what you need to do if you choose to explore this particular topic. So our learning intention is to learn about the biology of stress and how that links to well-being. A success criteria is that you can identify what the body does in response to stress, how it resolves after the stress is gone, and you can explain how wellbeing programs and connection to community can help. So that's what we're aiming to do in exploring option A. So this is kind of meant to be your mission map, so the timeline, but if you have a look at it, Stage 1 flows into Stage 3, which flows into Stage 2, then on to Stage 4 and back to Stage 2. And it's reasonable to say, yes, this was generated by AI, but I think it might be time for AI to go home and let's just try this again. So in your written instructions, you have this, your estimated timeframes. So you've got 6 stages there: understand and plan, research, creating a flow diagram, calculating some data or using data and some maths, writing the actual report itself, and then editing and finishing. You have around about 20 hours in total to spend on this across weeks 1 and 2 to get this task done. The times on the right-hand side there are estimated. So you may not need 2 hours to do the understanding component and the initial planning. So maybe you spend an hour on that, but maybe you might need 7 or 8 hours to do the research because it's a deep topic and you might need to dig into it a bit deeper. Or you may need to ask for help from your teachers to understand some of the concepts. That's okay. That's why there's flexibility in these timeframes. But you've got 20 hours there or thereabouts to get this work done, keeping in mind you have this task to do as well as your proposal to do across the first 2 weeks. So you need to make sure that you plan your time accordingly. So Stage 1 is making sure you unpack and understand what the topic is getting you to do. So there's a starter sentence provided here, but also in the instructions. In this project, I will explain how the body responds to stress and how it returns to balance. You're going to unpack what that sentence means to you and an understanding of what you need to cover across the various 6 stages of your written report that you'll be submitting. In order to do that as well, you need to know some of the key words. So they're listed here. They're also listed in the instruction booklet. So a stressor, stimulus, nervous system, endocrine system, and homeostasis. You'll need to define those words. There are definitions provided for you, but you need to make sure that they're not just a definition that you can read. It needs to be a definition that you can understand. Because then if you understand it, you can unpack it and explore it properly. So you'll create an outline. So you draft the outline of what you're likely to cover and what the key things are to include in your report and the key definitions, and that's stage 1. Stage 2, you'll explore some of the systems and what goes on. So a little bit of background here that's going to help you with your project, but you will do some research because you're going to actually do some research on the various systems. The 2 main systems that respond to stress are your nervous system and the endocrine system. Your nervous system is a very quick responder. In fact, it's immediate. It's literally electricity flowing through your body. So you may see or feel something, a message gets sent to your brain lightning fast. Your brain sends a message out to your body to say, hey, we need to respond to this. So you'll explore what the nervous system is and how it receives those messages and how it responds and what actually happens next. Equally, with your endocrine system, it is a slower system. It's a hormone system. So hormones are chemicals. They get secreted into your bloodstream. They travel around your body to whatever their target is, and different hormones have different targets. And depending on the stress and the level of stress, you may have adrenaline and cortisol, and they do their thing in response to stress, which triggers off things that you might notice in your body if you get stressed. I'm not going to go into what all of those are because you are. You're going to research it and find out. But if your body surges with adrenaline, what actually happens? And why is that happening? It is about actually preparing your body to respond to stress, but how does it do it and what actually happens? So that's some of the research that you will need to do. Further, you need to understand what's going on in response to a particular stressor. So what is the stress response? How does the body change in terms of alertness, heart rate? If I saw someone with stress, what might I see? So you'll research that and report on that. Homeostasis is the process of maintaining balance. So your body wants to return back to normal. How does it do that? Again, research it and find out. And tying it in with our event, because our event is about promoting well-being and promoting stress management, for example. So, what are some of the common mental health concerns and stats in our area? All of this work is not just about building an understanding of some of the science behind it, but it's also about building the why. Why do we need an event like this that promotes mental health and well-being in our community? Well, that's where the mental health stats come in. Every article you read, every website you visit, anything that you use, you need to record. So make sure as you are doing this research, you are recording all of your sources of information. Stage 3 is a flow chart. So as part of your final report, you're going to create a chart that maybe looks a little bit like this, a bit more detailed than this, but shows what's going on in the body in response to stress. So initially, on the left there, you've got some sort of stress. Your body will detect that stress. You'll get the immediate fast reaction from the nervous system. What is it? What happens? Obviously, you'll need to spell that out. You'll get a slower response, which is the hormonal response, like adrenaline and cortisol. What happens? What is the response? What are the actual changes in the body that occurs? And then how does that return back to normal once the stress is gone? And the stress could be anything. You can choose something that you would like to explore. Maybe you're thinking about, you're about to do exams and you're stressed about that. Maybe it's your footy or netball grand final and you're just really stressed and hoping that you're going to have the best game because it really matters, right? It's important. So what's the stress that you're going to explore? How does your body respond to it? And importantly, stress is okay because it's what gets our body ready and prepared to push through a challenge. But we don't want to be there all the time. So when the stress is gone, how does your body return to normal? And that's homeostasis. So that's what you'll explore. You'll collect some data to help explore this as well. Now, these are there's a number of options in the written instructions, but these are a couple of them. So you might choose to do an experiment yourself. So you might measure your heart rate before you run 50 meters, then you sprint 50 meters and measure it again. What happens? It should go up, right? Now, the stress is the sprint, all right? Sprinting does put stress on your body, and your body is responding to that. So you might just look at what the effect is on the heart rate. You sprint, your heart rate goes up, measure it as soon as you stop, and then how long does it take to get back to normal? And that's homeostasis, right? Or you might include data that explores real results from a survey. So you might ask people about what sorts of things they find stressful and how they manage it. And so you tally that because your goal is to use mathematics in your why. You're supporting this project and trying to get a proposal up so it's approved. We're going to use data. Now, you might do some research and use data from online. That's okay. There's other options there as well, but there needs to be some sort of data included in your final report. If you choose the survey option, just make sure it's anonymous. You want people to be honest and to talk about whatever it is that stresses them. You don't need their names. That's irrelevant. You just need the data. So then you're going to map your data. So you can see on the left there, that might be an example of your measuring your heart rate, right? So you've got a baseline level on the left, you sprinted for 50 meters, you can measure the effect of the stress, your heart rate went up, and then you can measure how long it took to get back to normal. So you can present that sort of data in a graph like that. Or you might use pie charts to show what percentage of people are stressed by exams versus grand finals versus, I don't know, they're stressed about money or stressed about lack of sleep or whatever they say in the survey. And what percentage of people say the same sorts of things. You can present it as a pie chart, right? You also need to analyze your data, make sure, is it reliable? Is it misleading? So you need to think about the quality of your data and talk about that in your report. So you're going to then also link it to well-being, which helps build the why for our actual event. So a couple of examples. How does exercise reduce stress? Or how does being connected with friends, family, community, how does being connected to a sporting team where you might be able to hang out with your mates and enjoy something together, like playing a game of footy, netball, or whatever sport you're into? How does that actually help? And not just you as an individual, but how does it help people more broadly in the community? There's lots of information out there about that. We want to explore that. We want to present that in your report as well. Once you've done all of that work is about then getting all the information you need so then you can write the actual report itself. So do the research, you make a plan, do your research, create your diagram, which has to go into your report, create, collect, analyze, and present your data, and do the research into how sports, how stress, how everything has an impact on wellbeing in our community. And then you piece all those pieces together, like it shows here. It is like a jigsaw puzzle. Put all the pieces together and you get your final report. The final report is what you're going to submit and will be assessed. Your instructions have this information, but again, this screencast is designed to help you work through that as well. These are the various sections you need in your report. Must have an introduction, must have what's going on, the research. So section 2 is presenting your research. Must include your flow diagram. What's your maths? What is your data? How did you present it? And did you analyze it? Homeostasis, how do we get back to normal, but also maintaining balance moving forward? And a conclusion, make sure you include your references. So all of that is stepped out for you in your instruction sheet as well. The last stage in your timeline is time to proofread. Make sure there's no spelling mistakes. Make sure you've got good punctuation, capital letters. Check everything. Don't rush this, all right? There's no excuse. You've actually got, in your plan, you've got about 2 hours allocated to just doing this. Do it. Make sure it's as good as you can possibly make it. If it's not done well enough, we'll ask you to do it again. So you've got 2 hours. You may as well use them, and that'll save you time because we're not going to ask you to do it again. So make sure you do it. And if you have, it's ready to submit. So again, you've got 40 hours in total across 2 weeks, 2 major tasks to do. The why, and you pick one option. You may choose this one, which is option A, or you may choose one of the other 2. You write the report. All 3 options have a report. You write the report and you submit it. And the other thing you need to get done is the how, your proposal, which must be approved by the end of week 2. The why helps inform the how. Why do we need the event? Why are we doing it? How are we going to run it? Here's my proposal. So across the 40 hours, split up your time as you see fit. You are in charge, manage your time, but make sure you get everything done. And if you choose the biology of wellbeing, look forward to reading your final report.